You're missing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars. Hey guys, Matt Teifke here. If you're a subscriber, then you know who I am. I'm co-owner for TRE, an amazing real estate company with our headquarters based here in Austin, Texas, aka Opportunity City. I grew up here, and 13 years ago, I decided to dive into the real estate industry right after high school. Since then, I've bought and sold hundreds of properties, flipped houses, and currently hold over 70 long-term cash flowing properties. And with all of that experience, I'm trying to pass this on to you in videos just like this one. Actually, today's video is all about how I was able to get a lot of the deals I've done in my career. In the words of Jordan Belfort,
pick up the phone and start dialing.
That's right. If you haven't guessed it by now, or you can't read the title of this video, I'm talking about the chillest tactic in the game, cold calling. This can be so scary and intimidating if you don't know what you're doing. But if you go into it with a plan of action and tactics that are proven to work, then you have nothing to fear. And that's what we'll talk about today. I've been cold calling for 13 years. I've been rejected more than your lousy jump shot. So I've learned a lot. If you've cold called before, you know how tough it can be. But if you've done it for a while, then you know that it only takes one deal to make it all worth it. And then you're back for more. Well, let's get you that deal a lot quicker and with a lot less pain and embarrassment. Today, I'm gonna tell you all the best tips and tricks when it comes to cold calling. But before we push any phone buttons, I need you to push that like button. It'll help the YouTube algorithm, and every like on this video equals one rejected jump shot. Okay, now let's dive in. The first thing I gotta tell you about cold calling is this. You need to make sure that the seller is in a position to talk and that they have time. So when you pick up, you should introduce yourself and ask if they got a minute. This sounds simple and probably obvious, but I've seen so many people call sellers and try to rush their sales pitch right as soon as they can.
Wait, that's your pitch?
They're afraid that the seller is going to hang up on them, so they rush to that sales pitch. This is a big no-no. When they answer the phone, make sure you're calm, warm, and inviting. Once you find out that you're on the phone with the right person, ask them if they have a few minutes to talk. And if yes, go on to introduce yourself. If not, ask if you can call back at a later time. You always want to maintain the highest level of respect. You never want to be too pushy or too salesy, which leads me to my second piece of advice. My second piece of advice is to build trust. Basically, get them to like you. But how do you do this in just 30 seconds? Building trust and getting a stranger to like you right off the bat can be a major challenge, but it is not impossible. Be open, be honest, and have a positive attitude. Find ways to relate to the person on the other end of the line by asking great questions and showing genuine interest. Not just questions about real estate, personal questions, such as where are you from originally? Any fun plans this weekend? If you can find something that you have in common, then you will become more relatable to the seller. They will realize that you are a real human being just like them. You're also going to want to find out what their needs, goals, and motivations are. This can be specific to the piece of real estate that you're interested in, but it does not have to be. For an example, the seller may be in their 70s and have their children and grandchildren have moved 5 states away. They're having trouble keeping up with the house and just want to spend time being a good grandma or grandpa. By finding out this information, you'll be able to sympathize with the seller and can help them find the best solution that will be for their particular problem. Knowing real estate well will come in handy because you'll also be able to see multiple different ways that the seller's problems can be solved. This part may happen at the beginning of the call or after a little bit of chatter. Side note here, be flexible when cold calling. No cold call is the exact same, so you need to have the ability to adapt. Back to your credibility. Who are you? And why should the seller trust you or believe that you can help them? Tell them who you are, professionally and personally. List off some of the deals you've done before, or the rigorous schooling you went through to learn all of this. If you've done a deal that is similar to the situation that this seller is in, then you are golden. Tell them how you've helped others in need and have been in the same shoes as them. Establishing credibility is key. Now, down to the nitty-gritty. If at all possible, get them to say a number first. This is negotiating 101. If you get them to say a number first, then you sort of have the leverage. The ball is in your court, so to speak. If they say a number that they'd want to sell at first, then you got the ability to counter them and give a number that won't work because of reasons A, B, and C. Or if the stars align and they say a number that is absolutely fantastic for you, then just tell them deal and lock it up right then and there. But like I said, there are no two cold calls that are exactly the same. So there may be a time or two when you have to be the one that says the number first. There are some stubborn people out there. There are also some people that have been around the block and they've been in the game for quite some time. They'll want you to make an offer first before they say anything at all. If you have to throw out a number, then let them know the number that you say is not concrete. There are so many variables that can change a deal. You'll need to see the property in person. You'll need to inspect it. New things are going to pop up all the time as you get closer and closer to coming to an agreement. So set their expectations that you want to get them as much money as you can. But that number you discussed today may change. I mentioned this before, but I cannot emphasize it enough. It is so important to find out how to add value and to solve their problem. I gave the example of the grandparent looking to spend time with their grandkids, but what about the 35-year-old investor who is in the prime of his life and raking in cash flow from a property that you want? How are you going to solve his problem and add value for him? Well, you'll be able to figure that out better by getting to know him and building that trust. Maybe adding value for him is to 1031 exchange into a bigger and better property without having to pay a dime in taxes to the government. And you can be the one to help him with that. Or you build that relationship over time, you bring him deals to partner on. There is a way to add value for everybody out there. And being knowledgeable on real estate will open your eyes to how many possibilities there are in this industry. Now, all of the advice today is important, but everything I said up until now will be a waste of time if you do not do this last step. Follow up. You probably didn't get a contract signed on this first call, so you'll need to be consistent and follow up with your seller. Not in a pestering or annoying way. You don't always want to talk business unless they do. You want to build that relationship. Think long term. Don't just try to make a quick buck. Your career is more than just one deal. So take a step back and see the big picture. Following up is crucial. Statistics say that you need to have 8 to 13 touches before a seller will want to sell to you. So be patient and go put in that work. So that's it, guys. You now have all the tools you need to be a pro cold caller, the coldest caller, a baller.
Wanna be a baller, shot caller, 20-inch blades on an Impala.
And hey, if you need to, rewatch this video. Use this video to get you hyped up and confident before you make your next call. And remember, you've got to be resilient. If you're going to last in this game or life in general, you have to have tough skin. You're not going to get the deal sold in 5 minutes the first time you talk to someone on the phone. If it was that easy, everybody would do it. Don't try to close the deal on the first phone call. The main goal for a cold call is to get a second phone call or to see the property. You've got this. If you're making calls, then you're already a step ahead of the 99% that's just sitting on the couch wishing they could get deals. And I'm proud of you. And hey, before you go, drop some comments below with questions that you have. I promise to personally respond to every single comment that we get. And make sure you subscribe and turn on that bell notification so you get a ring when we have new content drop. Thanks again for watching today and can't wait to see you in the next series.